dojos are at the center of this controversy. What's up, guys? Dave from Team Rubalcava, TRN Cobra Kai Theories. What is up, man? We are going to talk about episode 1. So you might be wondering why I put out episode 10 first, and it's because that was actually the last thing that I filmed. So it's been a rough night, man. Trust me. You know, we had some issues with the videos and the reaction videos and all that, but it is what it is. Like, I had to just basically realize that it's not gonna happen. The reaction videos for you guys are just not gonna happen. They keep getting blocked, and I could spend another 2 days trying to like fix the videos. I'm like, screw it. Let's just talk about it and do a breakdown and talk about what we, I'll kind of go through. I'm gonna try to do as close as I can as a shot by shot, but I'm not gonna talk about every single image. So I grabbed a lot of images from episode 1, and we're gonna put them in here and kind of talk about them and kind of talk about some things that we're learning in episode 1, and then at the end I'll give kind of a recap about how I felt about that episode, and then we're gonna jump into the rest of them. So my goal is today to have all 10 episodes, at least have some type of breakdown of what we kind of learn from them, and then I will do a deeper analysis for characters, interviews, a more thorough breakdown. But right now I've been up 25 hours so I'm gonna do my best to get through this, and let's just have some fun, and we'll just do some breakdowns. So with that, let's just kind of get into it. All right, guys, I really thought when we saw the trailer that maybe there is a possibility of the All Valley coming back, right? There's a possibility that maybe that might be happening. And in the beginning, we start to see this happening with Miguel. And for a moment, I thought, wow, they are going to bring back All Valley. But we do know, and because I've been able to watch the whole entire season, that we did learn that this is more of an internal struggle that's happening with Miguel. He's in a coma. He's trying to fight his way back to being awake. And so here we see him, just kind of out of it, and he's in a coma. And it's become symbolic with him trying to find his way back home. Now, what's interesting is all of this news footage that's going on right now. What was interesting is we knew something was going to happen with the All Valley tournament. We knew that something happened, and I kind of talked about it in the live stream that I did yesterday, and some of the other videos, that the public and the community had to have gotten involved with that. It had to happen. It's become front page news on the news. Something is going to happen to that All Valley, which makes it questionable whether or not they're even going to have it anymore. Now, this scene kind of made me laugh because I knew Johnny, he only deals with things the way he knows how, and that's by drowning himself in alcohol. Probably hasn't taken a bath in like a week or something like that. And he notices on TV in the bar that they're talking about this, and they actually show Samantha, they actually show Robby, I believe, if I remember correctly. And these guys come over and change the channel. So if we were wondering how he got put in jail, like we saw in that trailer, we thought maybe it was the fight with Kreese, maybe it was the fight with Daniel, maybe it was all these other fights. The truth is, it came from this fight right here. And so Johnny being Johnny just couldn't control himself, walks up and bam, breaks in the window, and of course gets himself in trouble. And he gets stomped on a little bit too, in kind of Johnny fashion. The one thing I love about this character is just never backs down. Johnny is a tough guy, a real tough guy that never backs down. We see his mugshot right here. And so that kind of answers one of the questions for us. At least we know that it was not Kreese. It was a brawl that he got tossed in jail for. Now, we do see Daniel and Amanda at the school right here. They're talking about Amanda's suspension, which I do believe now. I think she was suspended for a few weeks. I think it was 2 weeks is what they said. But they also attend a meeting that's about the All Valley. Now, this is more of the community of them deciding whether or not, and at this point, I think they've already started to talk about it. You know, they haven't had their formal one, but they're kind of just talking about things that happen at the school. They talked about some issues, talked about some other programs that they can do. But then the blame starts to get shifted onto the LaRussos. And for the first time, I was like, man, the community is turning on to the LaRussos. So you know it's going to affect their business, right? You know it's going to affect them. This is where we see Johnny in jail. Oh man, that foot, man. That's like that's the nastiest thing I've ever seen. He's got like toe fungus on there, man. That's so gross. Oh man. But from this moment, we do see that Johnny talks with the guard, and the guard basically recognizes him and tells him, "You're the father of the kid that killed the other kid." He's like, "What?" And so at this moment, he doesn't really know anything about what happened to Miguel, but he's telling him that he's on life support or whatever he said. That he's in a coma, and that he probably isn't gonna last more than a couple of weeks or something like that. More than 2 weeks, it typically ends bad. Now we do see Sam eventually come back to school, where she starts to show a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear in the school. And I don't know if I put those slides in there, but we also see the gang again, Cobra Kai, all back at the same school. You see Hawk, and man, that mohawk still looks badass. But we know from the trailer that this is going to lead to some type of confrontation, right? We know that. There it is. They bump into Dimitri and the rest of Miyagi-Do in the hallway, and there's going to be conflict, or there is conflict. Now, LaRusso Auto, what can I say, man? Bad press is bad for business, and it's pretty bad for them right now. The fallout from that fight, the fallout from the school brawl has put their auto dealership in jeopardy. Now, what's interesting about this is that they're talking about that Louis found something. Louis found that a vehicle, a trade-in, had been taken, and they're pretty sure that it was Robby that actually had something to do with that. And Louis helps Daniel, help him figure out which car it is, where to track it, and they go on the hunt for looking for him. Now, this scene actually is really, really hard for me to look at, and this is where Yaya and Carmen are kind of talking with Miguel, and they're telling him you can talk to him, like talk to him as if he's still here and still coherent. And so it's really hard to see that, really hard to see what's happening in that hospital room. And now we have Johnny come in, and Johnny just wants to see Miguel. He just got out of jail. Man, he looks horrible, and he wants to see Miguel. And the thing is that it can only be like family that can see him, and they absolutely refuse to let him in. I mean, look at him, man. He looks like a bum. He probably smells like one too. And they refuse to let him in. But Johnny, being Johnny, is resilient enough to find a way to get in there to see Miguel. And so we see Daniel. This is where Daniel's actually out looking for Robby, looking to see if he can find him, following the tracker, only to find out that the tracker's already been taken away. So I didn't really think, and this is on a personal level, I really didn't think that Robby would actually steal the car. But the truth is, he did have access to those codes. He had access to those cars. And because it was a trade-in, he probably didn't think anybody would notice. And they didn't, with the exception of Louis. Louis actually does something positive for once. And it's interesting that he chose to do that, but he still stole the car. And so as Daniel's looking for him, he gets an idea that maybe, just maybe, that Robby goes back to the Miyagi house, and instead he finds In-N-Out, which, man, that looks really good right now, and Sam's there as well. So this is where they actually have a good heart-to-heart. And so I do know that Samantha is lost, that she's confused, that she's feeling responsible, that she's feeling the self-accountability for what has happened. And they have a deep conversation about whether or not they are the good guys, and if they're doing the right thing, and that she always thought that they were the good guys. And yeah, it's tough to watch this. I realize with her character in this season that she's got a lot of growth to take place, that she's got a lot of fear still inside, and that fear is just eating away at her. And we see this in this episode, the fear of going back to school, the fear of the scars, everything that's happening, the fear of Miguel and whether or not he's gonna make it through, is just eating away at her. And then Johnny finally makes it into the hospital, and this was another. This episode had a lot of things that were kind of emotionally driven, and this was the one with Johnny seeing Miguel for the first time, which was really hard to watch how it was affecting him and affecting, you know, his morale and him feeling responsible for what happened. So, oh man, that image is still hard to look at. Now this scene was something that I didn't really think about. Maybe you guys can tell me if you guys felt the same way, but it didn't even dawn on me that Daniel didn't know what happened with Johnny. I don't know, for whatever reason, we get to see it as it's happening, but Daniel isn't even aware that Johnny's not there anymore, that Kreese took over the dojo, and in Kreese fashion, you know, that he's gonna stir something up. In Kreese fashion, he's going to provoke Daniel, and that's what he's good at, man. He's good at poking at him, talking about, you know, bring up Mr. Miyagi, do whatever he has to do. He has to throw whatever dirt he has to at him to try to get a reaction out of him. But Daniel decides to be the bigger person and walk away from it. And here's the scenes that we were talking about with her coming back to school and Samantha feeling like everyone's watching her, everyone's whispering about her, and it's just becoming an overwhelming experience with her going back to school that maybe she wasn't ready for. And those slides are kind of backwards, so that one should have prompted before we saw her with In and Out, but you know what I mean. You guys know what's going on. Now this scene I found very interesting. This was one of the first scenes where I felt like Daniel was actually starting to show accountability, where he talks about that this is something that we started, this is something that happened between us, we need to team up and we need to figure out how to find Robby, and that he wants him with him to find Robby. And here we see Robby out on the streets. There's the car that he stole. He's living on the streets with virtually no money, nothing, and he's definitely struggling to survive. There's too many slides in here, man. Let's just cut all this out. We need to cut down. We're at 12 minutes. Oh, that's it. Okay. So this episode, guys, episode 1 really starts to get the ball rolling, like so many things. And what was interesting is in this episode, we actually see a lot of the flashes that we saw in the trailer, like a big handful of them we saw just in episode 1, which is interesting. And I really thought that this kind of set the tone, set the pace for the rest of the season. You see all of these underlying stories happening right now. Whether it's alliances with Johnny and Daniel, Samantha having issues, the All Valley is in jeopardy, the LaRusso's auto dealership is starting to have problems because of the fallout with the fallout from season 2's school fight. So I thought it was a really great episode. I thought it was an episode that at least got it started, got it in motion. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys felt about this episode. And we're just going to jump right into another episode and let's keep going, guys. So if you guys enjoy these kind of breakdowns, smash that like button, share it out, put a ton of comments in there. I really appreciate it. And let's jump on to the next one, guys. All right, until next time, let's do it.